most of us are under the, or many of us are under the belief, the false belief, that we are in the world alone, that we walk this earth alone. Hence, and I've even said it before, we say things like, I don't care what anyone else thinks. The mere fact of us saying we don't care what anyone else thinks is very egotistical, simply because much of what we do relies upon other people. So we're not in the world alone, even though we think so. Reputation, beliefs or opinions held about someone or something. That's what a reputation is. What people believe about you. What people believe about a thing. Reputation. So if you have a bad rep, then that means that people believe bad things about you. It doesn't necessarily really matter if they're true or not. The point is that they believe them. And if they believe them, this is a world of belief. And if people believe something, they're going to go with it. They're going to, the hardest, what is it? The hardest court to win in is the court of public opinion. When your reputation is tarnished, it's tough to get it back, which leads me to the point of this video. If you truly love yourself, you will focus on your appearance. You will care more about how you look. This is not a vanity thing. We've been made to think that it's a vanity thing, that it's vain, but much of this world relies upon how you present yourself. Because how we look, what we wear, the way we carry ourselves is part of the formation of the reputation. It is a communication to other people on the way we view ourselves, our opinion of ourselves, because that shows effort to have clean clothes, matching clothes, to be groomed, to be well-spoken, to be intelligent. These are all a part of the reputation. And these are all things that people can see on you. The easiest way to think about it is if you had to buy a car and you said, you know what, I want to buy a Mercedes Benz. There was a junkyard with cars and junk all around, but they had a new 2023 Mercedes Benz. Everything else was junk, Would you buy that Benz? They said, this is for sale. Same price as what you would pay at any other dealership. You could walk down the street to this dealership. This place is not even a dealership. It's a junkyard. You could walk down the street to buy this Benz. The question is, would you buy the Benz? In that junkyard with all of these old cars, dilapidated area, would you buy the Benz from there? A $100,000, 60, 75, 80, $100,000 car, and maybe more. Would you buy it from there is the question. And the answer is you would not. Most people would not do that. And the reason that they wouldn't do it is because of the perception. See, perception is everything, and people perceive you to be something based upon how you carry yourself. The perception is that this can't be there's something wrong with this car. It must be a bad car. Because why is it being sold out of a junkyard? Even if the car has everything else that every other Mercedes-Benz has, it's 100% the same, maybe even better. Not a mile on it. But the fact that it's in the junkyard, surrounded by junk, car parts, 20 dogs barking, trash everywhere, you're not going to want to buy it. So that decreases the value or the possibility of the car being sold, because it's the perception of how things are perceived. So When you don't care about how you look, you are sending a bad message. And if you won't treat yourself a certain way, if you won't walk with a certain energy, if you won't dress a certain way, if you won't groom yourself a certain way, if you don't care about yourself, how could you think that other people are going to care or even respect you? Because the message that you're sending, even though it may not be that way, the message that you're sending is that you don't care about yourself. So why should anybody else care about you? Why should anybody else respect you? You can't even brush your hair. You can't even get a trim up. You can't get a fade. You can't get your hair done. Even though on women, I'm personally a fan of natural hair. But even the natural hair can still be presented nicely. So these are things, because the first thing that people do, for whatever reason I see them, they let themselves go. They let themselves go and they wonder why they're not attractive to people. And not just in the personal relationship sense. They're not, listen, if all these people are dressing a certain way, if they're doing certain things, if they're working out, why would they want to be around a person that doesn't work out? A person that dresses or is much like a homeless person. Their appearance is that of a homeless person. Even though they may have money, they may be doing well, they may be a good person, you're not even giving yourself a chance. You're not even giving people the opportunity to know you, to truly understand who you are, because you have failed the first test, which is what they call the eye test. In the NBA and basketball, it's the eye test. Does he pass the eye test? Okay, let me see. Are they athletic? They got long arms. How do they look? Are they making it look easy? If you pass the eye test, then we can get to the analytics, because some people can get an opportunity just based upon the eye test, what they do on the court, without even having seen stats. Their stats may be lower. They may not even be that good, but you 6'10", you cut up, you jumping high, you may not even have the skills, but they're going to give you a chance based upon the eye test, the perception, because they're like, oh, we can work with this. We can work with this. So the point is that perception is everything, and it's very real. How do I know it's real? Because people pay 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 for clothing, for bags, for shoes, for cars, because of the image, because of how they will be viewed. They're willing to go to these extremes because they understand that people value these things. So the eye test means a lot. And guess what? You could be a crook. You could be someone that actually has nothing, but people will go to great lengths to purchase things so that they can pass the eye test to get the things that they want or to get the approval. This is how much how you look, how you're perceived matters in this dimension, in this world. So you're communicating, whether you know it or not, each time you leave your home, which is why it bothers me when people let themselves go. You got to love me for me. Oh, I don't care about nobody. How could you say such a thing? That's really the easy way out. That is an easy way out. That is a cop-out as far as I'm concerned. Because you have thrown in the towel. You don't necessarily want to do the work. And that's frightening, because this is all that you have. This body is all that you have. You know what's the funny thing is? Even growing up in Detroit, I have never to this day, I lived in Chicago, I lived in Detroit, I lived in Los Angeles, just to show you how much perception means something, what people think of you, their opinion of you. I've never seen a guy or a woman, anybody, walking down the street in any neighborhood in Detroit with a suit on or maybe a briefcase, I've never seen that person be robbed. I've never seen that person be disrespected. The funniest thing is that you can go to any city, any major city, urban, hood, whatever you want to call these areas, projects. A person walking through with a suit seems to be able to walk through unscathed, untouched. Nobody bothers that person, that guy. People let him through without a problem because something about wearing that suit. Now, you could be a criminal. You could be a crook. You could be an untrustworthy person. But the fact that you are wearing that suit, I'm telling you, I've seen the most gangster of gangsters move out of the way. Hey, let this man by. He's clearly about business. Let this brother, or he's going to church. Let this person by. Nobody bothers that person. And they're walking around in a suit. So image matters. Image matters. We don't know if you could have money, you may not have money, but nobody has ever bothered that person. I've seen it in Chicago. I've seen it in Detroit. I've seen it in LA. Nobody bothers that person. They're like, oh, all right, well, they're clearly doing something that's on another level. So let's just let them go. Let them by. So your image is important. You have to care about it because so much of what you can do and what you can receive depends upon how you're looking and how people view you. So when you put the effort in by eating the right things, eventually the results are going to show. You want to impact people. I always say, if you want to impact people, you've got to be the thing first. You have to live the thing first. So you want other people to live a certain way, you've got to live that way. You want other people to eat healthy, you've got to eat healthy. Not only do you need to be eating healthy, getting nutritious, getting nutrients into your body, you better be showing the results. And when they see your body transforming, they're going to know that your mind has transformed, number one, which is the most important thing. But number two, to see those outward results, because most people need to see things to believe them. And so we know, since we know that people work that way, you're going to move a lot of people. You're going to get a lot of things done. You're going to receive things because of that. Because so much of what you can do and what you can receive depends on how people perceive you, how people look at you. So when they see that change in you, they're going to change towards you. They're going to change on how they treat you. You're communicating. Most of communication is nonverbal. What I'm wearing is a communication. You listen, you don't think, and I wish I could go back. You don't think that I know that when people see me and see tattoos, they're not thinking, oh, this guy's he might be a sharp guy. They're not thinking that, especially in a country like the Dominican Republic. Your first inclination is not necessarily to think that. This is why I wish I could go back and do it all over. I wouldn't have got these, but I got them extremely young before it was a thing. Before it was a thing to be doing, before anybody had them. I had my first tattoo at 12 years old with Indian ink in the backyard with my boys. We thought we were tough guys and all of that. 12 years old. So when people see me with these tattoos and all this stuff, what I've got to do, number one, is I've got to get past their perceptions of who I may be. So you see, even in my youth, because I decided to do all this stuff against my parents' wishes. They don't want, nobody got this. No, my brothers don't have this. No, my parents don't believe in this stuff. But my point is that because I made a decision earlier in my life to put markings on my body, now I've got to get past, and I'm doing business now, and I want to be credible to people. Now I've got to get past all of their preconceived notions about who I may be when I'm walking down the street and I've got tattoos on my arm and all that stuff. And in this country, if you got tattoos, they like, oh, you're a gangster, you're doing something. In the Dominican Republic. So oftentimes many women may think, oh, this guy was a thug or this and that, and they passed good women, even though I might have been better for them than whoever they eventually chose or who they're with now. But the point is that this is what I'm saying. It means so much. I've lived this. I'm not just speaking. I'm explaining that you have to, it's good to have at least a well-represented version of yourself, the highest that you can have, the best that you can do for yourself is to represent yourself well. You never give anybody a chance. Again, we can not care all we want, but not caring has never got anyone a result, a real result. There are special cases where people are so special that everybody can look past their appearance. But for the average person who's striving to be better, you never want to give anybody an opportunity to misjudge you. So putting your best foot forward there's always going to be a reward for that. You cannot be cheated by putting your best foot forward. You can't relax and say, I'm married now, so I'm going to stop working out. I got the woman that I want, so I can chill. I'm working. You pick up 30 pounds. You can't say, oh, I've had a kid, so that's the excuse, so I can gain 80 pounds 3 years later after I've had the baby. Now, it is an excuse, but that doesn't mean that it's going to get you the result that you want from your husband being attracted to you or from your wife or your girlfriend. Or it doesn't mean that it's going to get you the result that you want in the physical world, the mundane world. You may not have had no money for a suit, but maybe you could for a tie, a shirt. You can dress a certain way. So all of our excuses are valid, but it doesn't mean that they're going to get us the execution. So our excuses are our own, is the point. They're valid to us and they mean something to us, but to other people, they don't really mean much because we are creatures of the things that we want. We're naturally selfish. We're self-absorbed people. People are self-absorbed. We want what we want. We're not really concerned about why you couldn't do something or, those reasons, they're valid, but they don't get the results. So that's the point. So much of what we're going to do, much of what you're going to do or receive is going to rely on your appearance. So let's talk about some things that you can do for your appearance, things that I think are very necessary. The first and the obvious thing for me is going to be your nutrition. Your nutrition is going to affect your appearance, your nutrition and your lifestyle. That's the first thing that's going to affect your appearance because nutrition or health happens from the inside out, not necessarily from the outside in. The outside can mask an issue for a certain amount of time, but the inside is where the true issues take place. So that's why I said the only way out is in. The only way to fix the outside is to fix the inside first. That's the most important thing. So if you have acne, for example, it's something trying to come out of the body that's affecting the body, because the skin is the third kidney. So the skin is going to be used as a vehicle to remove toxicity, to remove waste. That's just a small example. If your hair is not growing and you're a young individual, you're a reasonably young individual, 20, 25, 30, there's something that may be going on. So you have to change your sleeping patterns, up your water, help yourself with protein, help yourself with different micronutrients, because you need iron for hair growth, you need protein and amino acids, you need omega-3, you need a lot of different things. You need zinc. But putting something topically on your head, well, that's environment. That's okay, but that's not what's going to truly make your hair grow. What's going to make your hair grow is what's going on the inside. So your nutrition is the first and most important step, because that is the fuel. That's the fuel for the body. That's the fuel for the body to run, to have energy. That's the fuel for the body to replenish itself. That's the fuel for the body to make the corrections on injuries or shortcomings that you have. If the fuel is not right, it's not going to look good on the outside, because the body is meant to make adjustments. The body will adjust for shortcomings, and it'll take things from other places. This is why people have things like osteoporosis, because the calcium has to get taken from the bones. So the bones get weaker because you're not putting in enough calcium. And so the body's got to make up. The body say, hey, I need some calcium. Or calcium is needed to break down a lot of the acidity, a lot of the acid that you're putting into the body in the form of animal product. Since you don't have enough calcium, since you're not getting enough green, leafy, whatever, take it from the bones. So now the bones have to suffer. You're getting the calcium to break down the stuff that you're eating, but the bones have to suffer. So the nutrition is important, because you will have physical outcomes based upon nutritional shortcomings. That's the thing. Number 2, dress well, which we already mentioned. The dressing well is something that you can control even more so than nutrition, because a lot of times people can't control the nutrition because they are addicted. They are addicted because the body may need something. Your organs may need something, but your mind may want something. And unfortunately, the mind is the control center of the body. So the mind says, I want this, because it's responding to chemicals. This is how addiction happens. So the body is going to be the collateral damage. The body's going to be the collateral damage, because the mind wants something, but the body is like, hey, we need this. So you want to give the body what it needs, first and foremost. And then the brain occasionally. I forgot how I got on this, but anyway, we're talking about dressing well. Dressing well is important. It's very important, because you can help it. It's something that you can help. It's clothing is relatively cheap. You can get clothing at an affordable. You can get it relatively cheap. But more importantly, just the clothes need to be clean. They need to be well kept. That's going to send a good message to people on your behalf. They don't have to be expensive. They just need to be clean and they need to be neat. Presentation is key. What was the name of that psychology author? No, it's not. Is it Peter Senge? Presentation of self. I can't remember. But presentation is key anyway. Diction is important. How you speak can change your life. The more words you learn, the wiser you will become. The more words you learn, the more rare you'll become, because the more you'll use words that are outside of most people's vernacular. That will make you stand out. That will make you impressive. More importantly, that will make you more knowledgeable. That will probably make you more money. And you will be more well-spoken, which is a part of your image, which will be a part of your reputation. You can take 1 word or 2 words a week. You can write the definition. You just practice using those words throughout the day or throughout the week. Really easy. Now, it may be a little challenging at first because you may be like, this word sounds. But over time, you're going to learn the synonyms for the word. You're going to take these words. You're going to use it in a sentence. You're going to use it with your people. You're going to get laughed at, stuff like that, because people may not know the words. They may not know what obstreperous means. But eventually, over time, they'll get it. They may not know what bevy means, but eventually they will get it. And then what you're doing is it'll start rubbing off on other people. They may not know what insalubrious is, but they'll get it over time. They'll get it over time, and that will help people to also elevate people around you. But it's going to let people know that you're sharp and you mean business, because this goes into the image of how you're perceived. So being well-spoken, that's free. You're going to spend money one time on a dictionary thesaurus, all kinds of words in there. And all you're going to do is learn 2 new words a week. Or if you want to go 3 or 4 new words a month, I don't know how you want it. It's up to you, the speed that you can go. But your diction, the way that you speak, the way that you deliver, the way that you enunciate, these things will help you. You will improve. You will stand out, because ultimately, that's what this is about. It's about being unique, which I've spoken about in other videos. It's about being unique. Your unique energy signature. The development of yourself is your real and true only job in this dimension. And you put that out there, aka let it shine. Illuminate to others who you are, and who you are will help them become their best selves. You're lighting the path. You're lighting the way. Oh, I never heard of that word before. What? Yo, where'd you get those clothes from? Wait, how do you know that? See, when you're presented well, when you're in shape, when your skin is clear, when you're looking good, when you're speaking well, you're dressed well, you can impact people. You can impact them at the highest level, because for sure you're going to have something that they desire. Something that they desire, you're going to have. And as you start to generate more money, it's up to you. You can spend more on your wardrobe or whatever it is that you want to do. I recommend keeping things in alignment with nature as much as possible. Don't go haywire if you're a woman. Don't go haywire with the makeup. I'm not a fan of makeup. What is the purpose of eating good? Now, sometimes you may want to put it on at special occasions, but I'm just not a fan of it. But What's the purpose of eating good and all that, having clear skin and all that, just to put this stuff on your skin to ruin your skin? Your skin is your makeup. Your aura is the best makeup there is. Having a clean aura, being light as a feather in the heart is the best makeup there is. Having a glowing auric field. Glowing, not shining, glowing. It's from the inside out to glow. Excuse me. When you glow from the inside. So, doing these things are important. Training. I've said before, you go to the gym to train, you don't go to work out. So, training your body to be in uncomfortable situations, training your body to be able to move a certain way, training your cells to be stronger, training your tissues to be stronger, training your body to improve its circulation, to be able to remove waste from the body, lymphatic system and the colon. You're moving things out of the body. That's a beautiful thing. Consistently training. Now, to the level of which you train is on you. You could swim, you could walk, you could do some push-ups, you can do body squats, you could do pull-ups. There are many options for you available. But you definitely want to do that. That is definitely a thing that you want to do. You definitely want to do that. You want to train. Depending upon your goals, if you're eating a certain way and you're training, that's a deadly combination. A powerful combination, not a deadly combination. A powerful combination. Training and eating a certain way. It's your business what you want to do, what you eat. I recommend the cleanest diet or nutrition that you can have. If you're going to do eggs, you want to do the best eggs. Free range. If you're going to do beef, you want to do grass-fed or grass-finished. If you're going to do fish, salmon, wild caught, you just want to try to eat the healthiest, and you want to try to keep things whole. You want to avoid condiments as much as you can. I'm not saying sometimes, but listen, when you're looking for a transformation, you've got to be a little bit more strict. When you want a transformation in your personal image, you've got to be more strict. And the stricter you are, the more drastic the results. Remember, in order to get drastic results, desperate times calls for desperate measures. So you do have to be drastic. You can't be halfway. You do have to be drastic. Personal development. Reading and studying is going to be, reading helps for memory. Let me say this, because we often get confused. Reading helps for memory and to see perspectives of other people. Learning comes from doing, because you're going to figure out what works and what does not work. But you need to personally develop in order to become the best version of yourself. So you need to read and look at what other people have done. The reading is sharpening your memory, sharpening your brain. So you're studying people as well as performing your own trials and errors. That's important. This is how you're learning. This is how you're personally developing. So you're going to have to be willing to try things. You need to try to get results. In order to get results, you need to try. And so you're going to know what works and what does not work. True learning comes through experience. It doesn't come through sitting on the sideline watching and reading. So that means mistakes will be made. They will have to be made. This is the laws. This is part of the laws of success. Mistakes will be made because you have to discard. You make your mistake, say, okay, that doesn't work. Now you're closer to what it is that you want to do. So, reading, personally developing, eating, obviously making sure you're getting your rest, dressing well, making sure you're groomed well. Did I say training? All these things. Diction, improving how you speak. These are the things that you have to do. And this will take enough time. And by the way, you don't have to go haywire with it. If you have a 9 to 5, essentially you want to be away from that. Because you only have a certain amount of allotted time in this dimension. And you don't always just want to spend all that time giving it to somebody else because it's not their time to necessarily have. Does that make sense? It's not their time for you to give it to them. It's really your time for you to do what you want with it. But in order to be free, see, freedom has a price. In order to be free, in order for you to be able to do what it is that you want, you have to pay your dues. But after a certain amount of time, your dues are paid. Now you can be free. And being free means being free on the time aspect, which is a man-made construct, but you still have a certain amount of energy and space that you're going to occupy in this physical vessel before you transition to wherever you're going, the next place. So, do you really want to spend that with somebody else telling you what time you got to eat every day? How many hours you got to work? Oh, I can't go on vacation. No, you can't because we need to get this done. It's necessary. And some people will always work for others, and that's okay. It's not a negative thing. But if you're talking about freedom, there are things that you have to do. Doing these things are going to improve you, improve your health, improve your personal image, and therefore you have to move on to a higher level because you can't improve all of these things and not be moved to a higher level because now you're deserving of these things. So don't forget, you're always communicating to the world. You're forever communicating to the world. This is who I am. And you want to communicate the best way possible. And the start is doing these things. This is the best way to start. Because you developing yourself, the thing is that a car can be repoed. What you learn cannot be repoed. Your self-esteem cannot be repoed. Because you've put in the work. It stays with you. So it can't be repoed. Clothes can be burned. A house can be sold. But all that you become can never be traded in. So, no more this talk about love me for me. If it's love me for me, because don't make no mistake, everything is conditional. For you to have something, you've got to be something. That's just universal law. So all things are conditional. Now, people can love you for you, but it may not be the one that you want. They can love you for you, but, if you're not putting your best foot forward, you can't necessarily think that the best person for you that's on your frequency is going to come into your life. It may not be what it is that you want, but it's going to be the best person for you according to what you've put out, according to the frequency that you're on. So we're always speaking about the highest levels. We're always speaking about getting the best. We're always speaking about being happy, getting that psychological satisfaction. And to do that, you need to sacrifice. To sacrifice means to give up one thing to receive another thing. So while people are having fun here and now, you say, I'm going to sacrifice a little fun here and now to work on myself. For later, potentially, for those people may not be on your level, may not be having that fun, but now you're up. It has to be that way because that's how it is. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. An object in motion stays in motion. You keep moving at a certain pace, certain speed, you're going to keep going. As long as you keep going. So this defeatist talk, lazy type talk, we have to leave that alone because that's not indicative of who you truly are. That's indicative of a person that's defeated. I don't care about what they think. You cannot care, but it's not going to serve you. You always should care. Caring, there's power in caring because you love yourself. You love yourself. So in loving yourself, you want to put your best foot forward to give yourself the opportunity to get everything that you desire. Simple as that.